I have got a big old bowl of potatoes ready to be turned into mashed potatoes, but we're not gonna make just any mashed potatoes today. We're gonna make pancetta parmesan mashed potatoes. So I have my 8-inch cast iron pan going over medium-high heat. And you might ask, why am I using this pan? Well, this is going to be used to fry up the pancetta, and this is actually what we're going to be using to bake our mashed potatoes in. I've done a similar recipe before where I smoked the mashed potatoes using this small cast iron pan, but today it's going to be raining outside, so we're going to bake them in the oven. This is 5 ounces of diced pancetta. We're going to fry this up. If you've never used pancetta, never fried it up for anything, you're missing something. You can see that pancetta is starting to brown up nicely. That's what we want to do. We want to get these pieces browned up, render that fat. So we're going to be using that fat in the mashed potatoes. Everything in this pan is going into the mashed potatoes. Going to let these keep crisping up. All right, our pancetta is looking good here. I'm going to go ahead and turn the burner off, move these off of the heat, and we're going to move on to getting our potatoes ready. What I have here is about 2 pounds of russet potatoes that have been mostly peeled. I leave a little bit of the peel on. I like a little bit of that rusticness in my mashed potatoes, but I did peel most of it. And they've been boiled until they're soft, so time to mash them. If you have some other way you prefer to mash potatoes, go ahead. It's really not important how you do it, just that you get them mashed. To this, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter and about 2 tablespoons of milk. I'm going to take a spoon, start breaking this all up, mixing it together. These potatoes are still nice and warm. It's going to help this butter melt. Now I'm going to add a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. And we're going to start working this in. I like to do this when the potatoes aren't hot, like not when they're fresh out of being boiled or however you cook them. I like it when they're just warm enough. I want to add some salt now. And yes, I'm adding it before the pancetta because I want to adjust for flavor before I add that pancetta. It's going to have saltiness to it, but I want to get a little bit of salt in the potatoes just as they are. Just going to mix that in a bit. There's also a lot of good saltiness in that Parmesan cheese. Take a little taste here, see how we're doing. That's pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and dump my pancetta in here and any of that grease that decides to come with it. Set our cast iron pan aside. We're going to be using that in just a minute here. I'm going to work all this pancetta in. I also want to add a little bit of cracked black pepper in here. Not a lot. And I'm going to add a little bit more milk, maybe another tablespoon or so. Just want to loosen this up a bit. I'm happy with that. Let's get it in our cast iron pan. So here's my cast iron pan. I've got my glove on because grabbing this, it's still hot. I've burned my hand enough to hopefully remember to keep this glove on. All right, we're just going to start filling this pan. And if we have too much to go in here, I'll just make a separate batch in another pan. Now, do you have to use a cast iron pan? No, you don't. As I mentioned, I was planning to do this out on the grill. Weather didn't cooperate, so it's just as easy to do it inside and in the cast iron pan. Same thing I was going to use outside. I'm trying to get it right up against the edges here. That's just about ready. We just have a few more things to do here. One is I want to spread some pieces of butter over the top here. We want to get some more of this butter melted in as this goes in the oven and down into those potatoes. Next thing, I'm going to sprinkle some grated Parmesan cheese right on the top here, right over the butter. I don't know, that's maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons there. And finally, I reserved a little bit of the pancetta we fried up. Just going to sprinkle it over the top here, just so we get some nice color on the top. Spread it around. Oh, I love that crunchiness of pancetta. All right, our oven is preheated to 400 degrees. Let's go ahead and get it in. All right, let's get our pancetta Parmesan mashed potatoes in the oven. We're gonna let those go for 15 to 20 minutes. All right, it's been about 15 minutes. Let's check our potatoes. Let's see, looking good. All right, I am gonna go ahead and take this out, set it on the stovetop and let it rest for about 15 minutes so it's not blazing hot when I taste it, and I'll bring you back. So here we go. Here is our finished Pancetta Parmesan mashed potatoes. I sprinkled a few fresh chives on the top for a little bit of green color, and it tastes good too, but I don't think there's anything else to do here but sort of dig in. I'm just gonna go in with a spoon and get some. Oh, I can already feel that cheese in there from the Parmesan as you're going through. You feel that gooiness. Oh, here we go. Ooh, that is nice. And see, there's a reason you don't put too much salt in when you're adjusting for salt, because that Parmesan cheese and the pancetta has a lot of salt in it, and we added the grease from the pancetta right into this. Oh my God. That was 15 minutes in the oven, rested for about 15 minutes. The prep time, as you saw, really wasn't that long, frying up the pancetta, mixing things together, boiling up those potatoes ahead of time. It's really not a difficult dish. And as I said, I was going to do this out on the gas grill to heat it up and crisp up the top. Rain just happened to intervene today. It did not want to cooperate. So into the oven it went, and it works. So remember, mashed potatoes don't just have to be a big pile of potatoes. Put things in them, mix it up, cheese, pancetta, just give it a nice bake in the oven or on the grill. Smoke it if you want to add some smoke, and you'll have mashed potatoes that you took to the next level.